Hello, everybody. This is Justin Case of America Newscape, rejoining our friend and comedic wrangler, Kim Kerley, bringing you what's up while catching up. Hello, Kim. Welcome back to America Newscape. I'm tongue-tied already. Welcome back to America Newscape. Kim, what's happening in your world?
Hey, I just got back from the Republican National Convention. I didn't actually go. I just stayed in my room for the last 5 days.
Well, how fun. Nothing like being around.
I watched it all.
Nothing like being around conventioneers.
Well, it was interesting. I want to go. I want to go to a convention in the future. Have you ever been to one?
I
A
have.
convention like Republican?
No, I have, and I've actually worked state conventions. They never thought I was suitable to be a delegate.
Oh, no.
Yes, I have no idea why. There could be reasons. I don't know, but when they
How do you,
needed,
do you,
go ahead.
you get to be a delegate the same way you get to get on an airplane? I mean, you like stand there like this, and then they
Yeah, make me a delegate.
and they go, no delegate, get over here.
Well, typically it's state to state and party to party. So the first thing you
Right.
need to do is talk to your state party and tell them that you're interested and have them put you in touch with your precinct captains. And I assume Texas is similar to Arizona. Your precinct captains will put you in touch with who you need to talk to, and they will interview you, and they'll make sure that you remember why you're a delegate, and you'll be assigned to a candidate. In Arizona, you would be assigned to a candidate Bob or candidate Sarah. Which one are
So
you
what do you
wanting?
mean you're assigned to a candidate? Do you get, so I want to be assigned to the president.
Well, yeah, exactly. You
Okay.
would, and the presidential candidates people would need to be courted probably 24 months in advance. That I'm all in. I'm all in with. He's my guy. If they hold a gun to my head, I will vote for him. And until I get the word, I'm not going to change my vote at the convention.
I tell you, if I go to the convention, I will not be looking at my phone when the camera's on me. Horrible look, people. Horrible. Get off your phone. Pay attention to what's going on in the convention. Live your life.
Exactly.
Dear goodness.
Well, there's my experience, and it's been a long time, Kim. There was a lot of drinking going on at those conventions.
Oh, so they're ordering more drinks. Is that what they're doing?
Well, let's just say there's a lot of suites that have parties, and it's meant for a real good time.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed it, watched it. Um, Sometimes I'd be on the news channels, and I didn't like it when they didn't let me see the people who were speaking. That was hard. I would like to go and hear everybody. So enjoyed Hulk Hogan. People are making fun of why is Hulk Hogan, on TV. But if you saw Idiocracy, did you see that? Where the president of the United States is from WrestleMania? I thought that was great. But
No,
anyway, I thought it was great. I
I
thought it was
did.
great.
I did not see that. Well, you should aspire to do that. I think
I
that's
did run for, a city council position here in my little community and went through political HE double hockey sticks. And I learned that people will lie through their teeth and smear you. Oh my gosh, I was smeared. They took a picture of me when I was somewhere and then they added glasses and said that I was spying. And people believed it, like on Nextdoor. I mean, it's Nextdoor. Okay.
well, yeah.
So who reads next? Your neighbors read it, but all ages of neighbors, and they're going, "Oh my gosh, she put glasses on and snuck into a meeting. What kind of person is she? We're not going to vote for her." And it was just horrible because I didn't. It was like, it's Photoshop. And when I said it was Photoshop, the people who did it go, "Oh, now she's saying it. Oh, I wish I knew how to Photoshop." It was crazy. The manipulation and everything. I can imagine on the level of the presidency, the amount of manipulations that are going on. But yeah, I'm kind of sucked into it all right now because it's kind of an amazing time that we're in, I think, politically, of course, and what happened on Saturday. It's just insane. So I've been watching a lot of that. It's summertime, so I'm off a little bit right now. because I'm
Oh.
still in education and slash still doing comedy. So
Well, I think you're funny wherever you go. And that day you get to the convention, I hope somebody there is smart enough to have you go up on stage because they need to hear what you have to say.
yeah. Oh, they were criticizing the speakers and how they use the microphone, so I would know how to use the microphone. So,
Well, yes, and you.
all the people who are yelling shouldn't be yelling. They don't know how to use the microphone. Like, oh my gosh.
Well, they're looking for something to criticize, but I think that's a great aspiration, and we're gonna. This will be the last we talk about me. I was a political hack back in the day. I used to
I
counsel
know. That's why I wanted
candidates.
to ask you about the delegate thing. So,
They raced when my 18th birthday. They made me a precinct captain the day of my 18th birthday.
aye, aye, Captain.
Yes, I captain. But that
Captain
was
Justin, Captain Justin, we have another person who wants to be a delegate in the air office.
Yeah, we have an emergency. We have an emergency. You need to drive this House member home because he's had too much to drink. That was some of the benefits of being involved in the party.
Well, I have a new computer and it's saying I have to enter my password. So we need to pause for password identification. I don't know why it's doing this. I just got a new computer, very excited about it. I'm going to be starting my, I have a book idea. I have several,
Well, cool,
but
cool, cool.
excited about
Hey,
it now.
let me ask you before you take it away. Doctorate. You were going after your doctorate. Has that become a reality?
After looking at the cost, it wasn't feasible. I mean, unless I would get forgiven for my loans.
Well,
Well,
that's
I'm gonna put, I would love to. So I was thinking, here's the crazy other side of this. I can go and audit classrooms after a certain age, which I'm very close to being.
what,
So,
40? 40? You have to be 40 to audit classrooms. Interesting, interesting.
I don't know. I thought it was like you had to be like over 65.
Okay,
I
okay.
could be wrong, but anyway, so I looked into that, and I actually got some close to filling out the application. Almost had it done. Had the letters that I needed, but dang, in order to get your doctorate, it is close to probably $80,000.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah. So think about when you're older, going get your doctorate, and then like, okay, so I'll be spending the rest of my life paying off school loans, and I just don't want to do that because I don't have that in the bank. Well, I do, but I'm not going to spend it on that. I think I'd rather go to Alaska and look at the glaciers. Like, oh, look at that, that's great.
Well,
I'm
it,
putting more emphasis on joy than having to make any payments. When I was dating, so I'm not dating. I've had a boyfriend like for 6 years now. Yay me, yay!
lucky him.
So one of the things about when I was dating, I would always say, I paid off my school loans.
Wow.
Yeah, it always got a positive response.
I'm
And I had a really good credit score. Good credit score, paid off my school loans. Second dates were always inevitable after that. That, and if I said one of my prior jobs was a meat cutter and I could break down a heifer, so appealing. So,
Well, we always learn something new about you. A meat cutter.
oh yeah, I can break down a heifer. It's been a while.
Yeah, a good friend of mine invited me over to his meat room, his cooler, because they were going to cut down a heifer. And my job was to pick it up and move it from one hook to another.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is slippery. This is not a fun exercise.
Well, when I learned, they were already broken down in forequarters and hindquarters, and I would only have to take off one of those uh, off the hook and break it down.
Very slippery. Very slippery. Okay, Kim.
And then break it down and get it ready for roast and all. I hope we're not offending anybody who's vegetarian right now. I'm so sorry that I know how to break down a heifer. In
Well,
today's world, you just never know. I mean, if I was in a counseling office and there was children in there, you'd probably start crying, oh my God,
yes,
what kind of
indeed.
human being are you? I shouldn't trust you with my feelings.
Well, there's always a smell of bacon frying as a self-defense.
Oh, little dab here, little dab there.
No, excellent,
So,
excellent, excellent. All right, Kim. All right, give us some lowdown. Now you've been at the convention. You came back. You're excited. You're going to get involved in that. You're going to sit in on some classes. But Kim, we need you. We need you. America's calling. We need you to help us through the
uh,
insanity of the world right now.
you know how you get through the insanity is really try to figure out what's true. And as a woman who actually dated for a long time, I think I'm good at that. Plus, I'm a counselor. It's like I think I can figure that out when someone's trying to snow me. Plus, as an English teacher, I used to teach propaganda.
Wow.
It's seeing through all of that stuff. And the bottom line is, the whole our country, people really don't pay attention to enough to say I'm going to have to work to try to see through this stuff. So maybe a good job could be, how when people can't hear and they have the people who interpret,
Yes.
maybe I can interpret propaganda.
The real truth. What
Yeah,
the candidate
yeah.
meant to say or should have said is this. Cheer.
Oh, that's all just a lie right now. Just delete, delete, delete. What they really mean is this.
You know, what you don't know about us is we've been on the edge of guidelines and have been on constant attack by some of the social media bosses to try and have us removed. But we never allow them to push their way upon us.
So, what was the basis for removal?
Oh, well, I'll give you an idea. On the YouTube channel, we got a copyright strike for something that was 100% ours, which we could prove, from
Wow.
2 years ago from a foreign entity. And the way you challenge that is you contact them, but they were not contactable. So in my appeal, they had to read it. And I felt sorry for them.
Ah,
I felt sorry for them having to read what I cared to tell them. But it is constant. We do videos on the edge of politics. We do videos
yes.
on our beliefs.
Hmm.
And 3 years ago, YouTube wouldn't allow any of them because they knew better. They knew better. Their analytics knew better. But we
Yeah.
fight through that, and we're pretty proud of where we stand, and that's why we have an audience of like minds. You and I, we may offend a vegetarian from our audience, but that's it.
Man, I hope you don't get in trouble for your guests saying they can break down a heifer. It upset my whole family.
Well,
Oh,
we haven't been kind to PETA because we're not woke. We don't get it.
yeah. So how many times during the RNC did they say there's only two genders? That should be a drinking game.
Yeah, try and
I
determine
loved
your
it. I loved it. I loved it.
try and determine your gender.
Yeah, I'm all for women or women, adult, human, female. So I'm all for that. I again hope we don't offend anybody. But when I was my last working on a tour, I am working on a comedy tour. It's in the works, and it's called I Want My Trophy. So it's all about that. And I have a whole section on Bruce Jenner. And because I was in love with Bruce Jenner in 1976, 77, 78, when he was Bruce Jenner and running, oh my gosh, good looking. And he was on my Wheaties box. And it just, he didn't take into account my feelings when all these changes were made. So to say that I should just accept it, probably not a good idea to even ask me if I do. I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little sad about it. But I don't know if you know this, but he made the change in April. I think it was 2016. And then in October, that's when he won the Woman of the Year award, which if you ever watch Dave Chappelle and what he said, it's so true. He was a woman for such a short time, but yet he wins because
No.
he's a guy and men are better being women than women. But they interviewed him and asked him what the hardest thing was about being female. And I'm going to say, and I quote, figuring out what to wear.
Oh, well, yeah.
Now, I have a whole 5-minute section of comedy on this that in the future I would love for you to tune in or come see me on what my answer is to that. But if you have some good Ladies or gentlemen, I don't know. If you have some good answers, put them in the comments. I'll take them into account. I'm still building this show. We do give out a Woman of the Year trophy to an audience member. And
Wow.
by the way, always a female audience member. So
Well,
take pictures and things like that. So
is there a chance to be Mr. Congeniality? I mean, if I showed up on my good best behavior, I mean my best behavior, I kept my mouth shut. No.
no,
Okay.
no, no. This is all ludicrous and crazy. And I'm hoping we are on the other side someday. Is this going to even make our history books?
This interview, I hope so. It should. It
That's
should.
an interview. The fact that men wanted to have the full "I am a woman" and have it on their it's just I can imagine sixth graders reading this in their history books. I can go back to when I was in sixth grade reading stuff and a little somewhat amazed at some of the history. I like history, but man, this is some interesting times if they do write it correctly for the kids to read in the future. I think, is that weird to think about, Justin? Is that weird?
Well, it's
How are
not.
the children in 2040 going to see this? In 21, 20, was it 20? Oh my gosh, 2100
Don't you
children in 2100.
don't you believe that children won't be required to read then?
Yeah, that's right. They'll get chips in their head with all the information.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, the whole chip in your head thing, pretty interesting, don't you think?
Well, I did
I
get
think
one. I did get one. I had a line drive baseball hit me above the eye socket, so I got a little chip in my head.
little chip in the head. The person who got the chip in the head, something happened. I don't know if you know the Neuralink, and they had a little problem with it. So he doesn't, they're not gonna be able to go in and fix it. It's like, sorry, you're first, we'll fix it with the next guy. It's like, he's got a defect. There's no recall on that. I got a recall. Can you fix it? Can you fix my Neuralink? But I was talking to my grandkids who are what they call them alpha generation. Alpha generation is the generation where children were born always knowing internet and all those things, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So they don't know what life was like prior. They don't know what black and white is. It's very different for them. But I said to my oldest grandson, I said, when I was younger, we were supposed to have flying cars by now. And I would really like to have flying cars like the Jetsons.
Yeah. Like Astro.
But I'm wondering how would that work? I mean, we're having a hard enough time driving on the roads and people getting wrecks. And he just looked at me and goes, "Oh, Grandma, it'll all be computerized." What are you worried about?
Yeah, how silly, Grandma.
Yeah. Like if you want to go somewhere, it's going to be a computerized, I'm going to go to Walmart. And they're all going to sound like the Jetsons too.
Will you have your Walmart attire on, where you don't offend the rest of the Walmart customers?
Oh, that's always interesting. But back to the Jetsons, I got new appliances in my kitchen. Yay! I didn't even have to go on the Price is Right to get it. I was able to. You win a whole new kitchen. I always wondered when people said you win a whole new kitchen. It's like, oh great, now
Yeah.
I can listen.
Now I can buy a home. Buy a home.
Hey, you're not gonna buy me a whole new vacuum cleaner too, but everything's push button.
Oh no.
So I don't know if you remember on the Jetsons when they got Rosie, the robot maid.
Yeah.
It's when Jane Jetson couldn't do her work because her finger was swollen.
Oh boy. How did Elroy handle all
George!
that? Wait on
And it was like, it was all real red and it was throbbing, right? The cartoon. I can't do my work. Sometimes I do that while I'm at work. I go, I can't do my work.
Oh, Kim.
Fingers sore.
Your fingers.
Hallelujah.
Your fingers sore. Well, I'm concerned for your grandkids. They miss so much. We had so much fun as children.
The one thing I think that's the hardest for me to see that's changed, because it's really difficult to say if they're not happy with what they have because it's so different. But what's changed is kids don't go out and play anymore, and they don't play with each other. So there's this whole push right now to take their phones away from students in schools. Have you heard about this?
No, no. Yeah, I have heard about it. I just don't believe it will
Yeah, they
happen.
take the phones and you put it in a pot. You put it in a pocket, like if you were to go see when we went to see Chris Rock, we had to put our phones in a pocket. So you go to school, you put your phone in a pocket, you get to hold the pocket all day, but it's you can't open it until the end of the day when you leave. They say, well, you can tear it open. Well, sure you can, but you're not supposed to. But what happens in the schools that are already doing this, after about a week or two, students start talking to each other again,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they start paying attention, and they start having human interaction. And I think that's what we're missing more than anything: the playing, the human interaction. Kids can't argue. They don't even know how to argue these days. They don't have a good argument because they're too busy. And you're just, and
They would have they
then
would
they
have perished at my
cookie
dinner
cozy.
table as a child because it was generally my dad arguing with me, my sister arguing with my mom, and then my mom would start arguing with me, and my sister would start arguing with my father, and we just went around and around and around. And one thing we all ended up is very adept at handling those types of situations.
Is your last name really Kennedy? Robert Kennedy Jr. said when all his family like, don't vote for our brother, he sucks.
Well, they may have had something there.
That's terrible. Don't vote for our brother. He's horrible. He said, how do you feel about that, Robert? He said, well, when I was growing up, we all sat around the dinner table and we would debate things. And
Yes.
apparently, no one liked his positions.
Well, they were probably unique for that family.
Yeah, I've tried to read his book, The Real Anthony Fauci, but it's a research paper. Very difficult, very difficult. I think you have to have your doctorate to do that, so I'm out.
Yeah, well, okay, Kim. All right. Well, okay. When is this new comedy set going to be polished and ready to go?
So still been working on it. I've done some shows in Dallas and in different parts of Texas, and oh gosh, one even out of state. But anyway, I'm working on it, and hopefully going to get it filmed down the road. So in about a year.
What about is there a dry bar in the future? Because that's where I found you.
I was thinking about that too. I would like to do another one because the first one, I was one of the first few seasons, and they've really done a great job. And I know some people have gone back. I would like another opportunity to get out some new stuff and do some things. Leanne Morgan got to do two. Why can't I? Brad Upton, I think he's number three. Why not? Why not I?
Well, I think Brad is one of their populars, but you should because your stuff is so unique and so refreshing,
Thank you.
and it makes
Thank you.
people happy.
Leanne Morgan and I kind of started out together. She was in San Antonio for quite a while, and she just kind of showed up, and she's just cute, and she was amazing. She, back then, she's about 10 years younger than me, but adorable. But at one point, because I was a single mother and I'm working and coming to the club as much as I could, and she says to me, she goes, Kim, my husband's rich. That's why I can do what I do, and I could go to all these places and go to the comedy festivals, and you just can't. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry you can't. Thanks, Leanne. And she's got a sitcom. God bless her. I mean, good for her. She's just had a great career. But she said that her husband, I think she stole it from Steel Magnolias, because my husband's as rich as God. He can afford it.
She is very funny, though. She is very, very funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
Southern Belle. She's a Southern Belle. And I got to tour. I got to do a couple of things with Brad Upton recently, so that was fun. And he's a regular now at the Grand Ole Opry. And man, that's a great gig, isn't it? I mean, should I put on a hat and go howdy? I don't know, but there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to get
well, Brad and
to
I have
those.
talked about an interview many times. We have just never been able to put it together, and it's not because of my availability.
Oh, he's so busy.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. He is. He is. He is.
Yeah, and he says, I guess he's older and he's got a couple more good years, and he wants to just relax a little bit. But this all happened, and it was great. As I say, we're not dead yet. I'm close. I'm leaving this earth one small organ at a time. So
Yeah, well, I'm kind of on that same boat ride.
So I had hypertension, not hypo, hyper. You know, not hypertension, hyperthyroidism, thyroid. Okay.
Okay, I know about
Didn't
that.
know I had it. Didn't know I had it. Lost a bunch of weight. Man, I was looking good. I went to dinner coming in, and my boyfriend, it's kind of weird to call him boyfriend when you're in your 60s, my man friend.
Your boy toy.
that, that sounds worse.
I like
But
that.
I'm coming in the door, and he's behind me, and he said, "You're just losing too much weight. You need to stop losing weight." And I almost cried because I looked at him. I said, "I'm not doing anything. This is the best stuff. This is great." And the reason why I found out I had hyperthyroidism is because it makes your heart rate go up high. And so my heart rate went up to like 155, 160, and
Oh
just
my
wouldn't go
gosh.
down.
Oh my
Yeah, for
gosh.
several days. Went to get checked, and they said this is what you have, and it's ugly, it's awful. I had to take a radiation pill to take care of it because I waited enough time. I really tried different alternatives to this, but with hyperthyroidism, it affects your brain, and I couldn't finish sentences, which was horrific.
What? No, you needed me. I could have been there. I could have been there for you. I could have said
This
what
is
Kim,
horrible.
how Kim was going to conclude was. I could have said.
I get, and I started talking, and I couldn't get, and so I did. When people say they do research, it means you just look up on Google. I literally read research papers on this, what was happening to my brain, what was going on, and what the different medications could do, and it was pretty insane. So I ended up taking the radiation pill, which is kind of funny because when you take the radiation pill, you can't be around people for a few days. So I stayed in the not in the cellar, but we have a bottom floor. I, the food was being pushed under my door.
Oh my gosh. Okay, lost them.
Don't let the dog near you. You'll kill the dog.
Only you and I could laugh at this.
It's radiation bill. Well, people have had it. So he brings out the radiation bills. I have this doctor here in San Antonio. Great, he's great. He's fine. But he brings out the radiation pill, and it was almost like he was so excited about this radiation pill, and it was in a container. Can you see about this big?
Right.
And he opened. It was a lead container, solid lead container. When he opened it up, he pulls out this bottle. Now I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm going, this is like the Young Frankenstein. I'm waiting for the dry ice and the music, and for him to go what I'm waiting for him to do. And he kind of did, but in his own way. So he pulls out this little vial, and it has the pill at the bottom. And then he takes the top off with gloves, these lead thin gloves. He takes the top off, and then he goes, put your hand out. And on my bare hand, he puts it on there. And I'm going, oh, is it going to eat through a hole through my hand? And then I took it with water, and he goes, there, okay. Don't be around people for a few days. Bye.
Oh gosh. Well,
So the weight loss stopped. So now I'm on the other side. Now I'm hypo. So thyroid is slow. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
This is just a nice side. There's people out there that would find this interesting.
well, you and I both have unique health histories, which most people don't get to experience. But one thing I do know, if the specialist is highly paid and he's looking at your test results and he's smiling, it is not a good sign.
I get to go to the world tour I've been wanting to take.
Yes, exactly. Well, that and they get to write in the medical journals about this fascinating case, and they find comfort in that.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about my gallbladder? Oh, is that too much?
No, I've never felt the need to know about your gallbladder, but do you still have one?
No. So when they took it out, so I'm going to tell you, I think this is fascinating. See, I don't go on Facebook and take pictures of my boo-boos. I wait until someone actually interviews me. But they took my gallbladder out and did a biopsy to see what was going on with it. And what had happened when I was in the womb, a slough-off cell got in there, and it was filled with, it was a pancreatic tissue in my gallbladder.
Okay.
So my gallbladder had never worked, so I'd always have problems. So he told me that I would be, this particular case is in the books. I didn't get any money for it though.
Well, that's. I remember when I went through an ordeal with my Mayo endocrinologist, and they were all excited. And all these attending Mayo doctors were all excited, and they wanted me to survive. And I looked at him and I said, "Is this medical journal worthy?" He goes, "Oh yes." And then I never thought anything of it. So, the ordeal is over, and they told me that it's going to take
Uh-huh.
5 years for you to get your cerebral capacities back, and it'll be a slow recovery if we can cure you. And they happen to cure me, and that's why everybody has to put up with me now.
Yay!
And he showed, finally, on a follow up 2 years later, he showed me this article in the medical journal. I
It's you.
wasn't I wasn't cited by name. There were two other cases, and they had pictures of our tumor. And I looked at him because he had become a friend of mine. And I said, "I hope to hell this was my tumor." And he goes, "No, it was this one." I go, "Oh gosh, that's the ugliest tumor of the bunch."
Aw.
And
we're both in medical books. That's exciting. We
well,
share something.
I don't know, Kim. I wish you weren't there, and I certainly didn't need to go through it.
But I think about that all these. I really literally didn't put any of this on Facebook because my age group, for some reason, will share if they have stinky farts. I mean, it is just amazing.
Oh, you're right. It's an arena of bowel movements and the discussion of.
Ah, look what happened to me. I'm like, please don't show this on. But yeah, that's what. But I remember when my mother used to have conversations with her friends. I go, why are you telling them all those things? Now that I'm that age and I see everybody else sharing their maladies, their physical maladies.
Uniqueness, their physical uniqueness.
Yeah, whatever. Stop. It's kind of like when people say, "I want you to pray for me." I want to know why I'm praying. Is it wrong for me to say, "Yeah, sure," but why? And are we gonna have a follow up? Because if I'm gonna get involved in this, I would like to know what's going on. You put it out there. Let me know.
So you're not going to jump into a prayer circle just because some fairly well asked you to.
Oh, come on, of course. I mean, but when we did our telephone prayer chains back in the day, were you ever on those?
No, I wasn't invited. I,
We used to have prayer chains, and so we would have different people. Kind of like if you have a chain of like don't go to work today. You'd have to call certain people. We had that with prayer, but we always knew we were praying for.
well, my grandmother, bless her soul, she was a big fan of, oh gosh, who was the big evangelist? Oh, I apologize. Maybe it was Oral Roberts. And she would send him $5. And she would say, "I sent Oral Roberts $5 and ask him to pray for somebody." And I said, not understanding, I said, "Grandmother, why in the world would you send that multimillionaire $5?" And she sat me down and explained all the people she had prayed for, asked him to pray for over the course of years, and sent $5 every time. They all pulled out of it. So think of the comfort she found in that.
Yes, but I still want to know why I'm praying for someone on Facebook. prayers, prayers, please. Okay, but why? I'm not the only one who feels this way. Sometimes I go, why am I praying? What's going on? And then I'll always go like to see if they tell someone if it's in the comments.
Well,
Never.
I'm more concerned about people I don't know praying for me. Because we are judged by our detractors, just by the people, just like the people that are praying for us. So imagine a bunch of heathens were praying for you. I don't think it would be a good thing.
Oh, it's kind of like vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, but can I watch?
Yeah, bring it on. Bring it on.
I've added that. There's so many times when I'm like, I need to forgive. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, but please, can I watch? Can I be a tool?
Yeah.
I know the vengeance is yours, but I can can I have a front seat when you take the vengeance in your hand?
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that's wrong. That's very human. It's very human of us.
It's a survival technique. Just like you and I are survivors. One thing they have to say about us, they may not love us, but they'll say, damn, those two are survivors.
That's right. That's right. I've survived. I've survived black and white TV.
So, yeah.
No, no control over the air conditioner as a child. The kids. This is an article I read, not research. It's just an article I read. Children today don't get told no.
Really?
They're just not being told. They're like, oh well, let's do this. There's never a no. I would say, I'm hot. Can we turn the air conditioner down? No. I mean, it was just immediate. I was
Well,
told no all the time. I had no control over the air conditioning, but I'm hot. I'm burning up. No.
well, my mom was
Child
very,
abuse.
very efficient in her words. She would use a glare, and if that didn't work, if the glare didn't work, she might have used a backhand. And I was sure to understand that my behavior was not appropriate at that moment in time, and I would try and do better.
I was the youngest in my family, and I watched that occur to my other siblings. There was four of us total. And by the time I'd really done some good studying, I realized I didn't want that happening to me. So I didn't get hit.
Didn't-
It was so rare that I got in trouble because I knew what my mother's triggers were. I think it's like my kids. I have two kids. The oldest one time my youngest was like challenging me. And my oldest daughter, she told me later that she was standing where Shannon could see her and she was going like this.
Well, as I look back on my disciplining, thank goodness. I mean, there was no child in history that needed to be disciplined more than I did. And they raised me like a junkyard dog. Do you know how they raise junkyard dogs? They protect them from lightning. Protect them. The junkyard dogs grow up having no fear, absolutely no fear of anything.
Huh.
They don't talk to
That's
them.
an
They don't
interesting
pet
analogy.
them. They bring them in and out of bad weather, and then all of a sudden, these dogs just turn. Their personalities turn, and then they're very good at protecting the junkyard or whatever they're set to protect. So that was how I was raised. So the discipline was good. It helped me get some perspective that I needed.
So I'm going to tell you that I would love for you to be in a group therapy session with me someday because this is a great analogy.
Oh, I don't know. I was challenged back in the day to do some Bible study with Jehovah's Witnesses, and I told them what I thought, and I read with them and my interpretation. They were fascinated how I interpreted, just fascinated. Do you want to be a goat playing on the hills, or do you want to be a meek sheep? I'd say, hey, Tony, look at me. Do I look like a meek sheep? And then they would just laugh and laugh and laugh. So it's interesting perspectives. We're all raised different, and knowing a bit about your background, we're really proud of where you've come, and you've had your challenges, but you overcame them, and I don't think there's a challenge you can't overcome, Kim.
Yeah, well, the reason if someone's seeing this for the first time, I left home at 14 because I was told to leave home at 14. But there was something in me that had been planted, maybe by my mother at an early age, I don't know, but I always felt I was special, amazing, and I had something. So I didn't let other people ever do things to me, or I didn't make decisions that would destroy me, right? There's
Right.
people that are very destructive in their decisions. I didn't do those things because I had this idea that I was special. So that's what I literally have a speech that I do at schools, and mainly to at-risk kids. But these days, all kids need to hear it, because I'd always start off, who in here thinks they're special? I look around, no one will raise their hand, or one or two will raise their hand, and they'll put it down real quick because no one else is raising their hand because they don't want anybody to know that they think they're special. And that is such a thing that most kids are missing, I think, these days.
Yeah, because we're all special, right, Kim?
Yes. So many people, so many kids don't have that anymore. I'm just have anxiety. The key word now is anxiety. And I say this, anxiety is normal until it's not. That's it's normal. It's
What
normal. We all get it. It's
I'm
normal until it's not. No, you crumple into a ball because you can't move. Yes, that you're having a hard time with it. But for the most part, we all have it.
well, I'm going to share this story that very few people have ever heard. When I was in third grade, my best friend and I were sent to the principal's office, and the principal told us, and we're the only ones in this school, both very acclaimed students, that they wanted us to spend some time talking to so and so. And let's just call this person Bob, not Dr. Bob. So we were taken off to a room, and this guy started asking us questions, and realized we're pretty bright children. And one of his first questions was, have you ever been snipe hunting?
Oh my goodness.
And that was the psychologist of the day. And we had a woke teacher of the day, and I think she enjoyed how much fun we used to have.
Uh-huh.
And that's why we found ourselves there. And the reason I learned that was because I ran into an eighth grade teacher long after he had retired and I'd become an adult. And I said, what was wrong with her? Oh, she had lots of problems. She was very, very bitter. I said, why in the world did the principal by name not defend us from her?
Uh-huh.
And he said, they were all afraid of her. We were fodder, cannon fodder. Did our parents know? Absolutely not. When I told my mom this later, she had trouble believing that it ever happened.
That's so weird.
And you know about permanent records back in the day. Mm-hmm. This woman was allowed to give her opinion. The third grade teacher that was criticizing us on our cursive writing technique.
Should never be a delegate at a convention.
Exactly.
That's what held you back.
Not fit to represent the United States in international competition.
It's all her fault.
It is. It is.
See how we brought that around, people? That's brilliant right there.
Exactly. You are the psychologist to the gods.
I got my degree in counseling because it was cheaper than therapy. Bottom line truth. It's so true.
Yeah, but you're so good for everybody. You see right through things.
Well, it's funny. I'm directive, and I don't really lean into stuff. And I think my way of seeing how helping people could be more like that as acceptable is coming to fruition as compared to, having someone come in saying, how was your day? How did you feel today?
Take a pill.
Why do you think you felt that way?
Yeah.
And yes, here's your prescription. So there's no money in helping people. If they start processing correctly, they're gone. So.
Well, absolutely. There's lots of.
That's what I could do. That could be. I remember there's this guy years ago. His name was Jose E. Baird. He would cut hair, and he says, "All you have to do is shake your head." So, "Shake Your Head, Darling" was the name, right? That's a good therapy. I could just say, "Hey, come see me, and we'll just shake it all up, and you can go live your life. One session, get it done."
Yeah, exactly. There's an interview I've done with a good friend of mine who's actually an acclaimed wound doctor.
A what?
Wound doctor. If you have wounds that aren't healing on your body, or if you were a vet,
okay.
He was a wound doctor. And he has a company that deals with that. And he wound me up wanting to know about my experience at wound clinics. And I thought I was going to explode. I said they were determined to get every penny I had and hoped I didn't lose my feet in their care before that happened. And then he started getting angry. He started laying out whys and the whys and the whys. And we've helped so many people with these types of ulcerations of the skin from that interview. And I think it's because we were so
Oh,
passionate.
that's awesome. And that's probably another reason why they wanted to take you off the air.
Well, that.
Quit helping people. What the heck?
Well, that and, I had a coalition of doctors. Granted, I did Mayo interviews where they could talk about our need to rush to get jabbed, but the counterbalance was acclaimed doctors telling us why we should not get jabbed.
There is a lot. I had a friend who at the time was married to a veteran who was burned, and
Yeah.
even though he's burned, he's not a good guy. Okay, he wasn't a good guy prior, not a good guy now. But anyway, she was really involved in the healing process and trying to help this person, and was telling me, we're not going to get this. We're not going to get this. I said, but if he gets COVID, he'll die. No, we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it. And I have a lot of respect for that because, that was hard to do during the time period. That's going to go in the history books. All that.
Well, it would, and we stood up to it. And, I had lots and lots of doctors calling to make sure I wasn't going to allow myself to be jabbed. And we had the kits to take care of it, and I came down with it once, and it was like the walking pneumonia I've gotten regularly since I've had a lung resection 26 years ago.
Yeah, I got it last year, and it was so super mild, but they still said, you can't come to school if you're testing positive for COVID. It's a wonder I haven't had it more times. You have to go to school today? Yes.
I can't imagine being in a school environment because you're exposed to everything.
Oh, so that was the hard thing because I felt like that was something that we kind of had to do because I was around kids, and then we had to wear the masks, and then they came up with, you don't have to wear the mask if you don't want to, and I was the only one in my office that didn't wear a mask, which was weird, but I just stood my ground. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't do it. And then now to come to find out, unless it's the N96 or whatever, it does nothing. And the reason why doctors wear masks before or when you're in surgery isn't to protect from germs. It's so they don't drop anything into the wounds.
Right,
So.
right. And I was not a believer, but I did wear my blue bandana as long as the law would allow, because I loved walking into the bank wearing my blue bandana. And they recognized me coming up the walk, and I would walk in.
Everybody put their masks on. Spray in.
They would
Spray
all
the lights on.
they would all be the
That
bank.
damn bandana hasn't been washed since the beginning
Exactly,
of time.
exactly. But they would all laugh so hard. Why are you still wearing that? I look good in this bandana.
That's funny.
So we all had coping methods, and you were a primary coping method for me and lots of other comedians because you carried us through.
Yeah, I did. I actually also did Zoom comedy during that time. Oh, Lord. I did it.
Well,
You
you
know,
did
you
it.
go on Zoom, and then people would come on, and they would actually pay to come and listen. It was interesting.
Could they comment?
Like no,
No, I would have paid to listen if I could have commented.
that's stupid.
That's my friend. She thinks she's funny. She's special. Ask her.
So special, so special.
But it was.
So yeah, it was a
It,
time. Again, history books. How are they going to deal with this one?
well,
What's
Kim,
going to be
I,
implanted? What's it going to say?
I think I believe if it had not been for the pandemic, I believe your career would have raced, and I would have never had the opportunity to meet you.
Oh,
So
that's true.
there are blessings. There are blessings.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna be real honest about the pandemic. I did not mind being at home,
No,
and I had just had a really big Christmas party in December, and it was out. We had a lot of little fun drinky drinks, like stations. That's what I do. I'm not a big drunk, but it was just a fun Christmas party, and I also had non-alcoholic. But anyway, I wasn't. People didn't drink all of it, so I put them in baggies. So I put the baggies in my freezer. And during the pandemic, I went, I've got all these baggies of drinky drinks.
And these
This is
and
fun.
these umbrellas drawing dust.
Exactly. I put an umbrella in, it's like, take me away. As a person who's worked my entire life, I mean, I had my first job at 15, and before that, 14 was survival. So I've been working a long time. It was just, hey, started watching Tiger King, like everybody else. Was it Tiger King? Is that the name? Tiger King? I felt so dirty watching that at first. It was just, but then we got to the part where Carol Baskin came in. That was really fascinating. It's like,
So then you didn't feel
now I'm
sorry.
hooked. Not so bad. But you know what I learned about the Tiger King is that if you kill tigers and perpetrate to commit murder beyond state lines, you get 25 to 30 years in prison. But if you kill your husband and feed him to the lions, you get Dances with the Stars.
There you go. There you go.
But I'm bummed.
Okay. Okay. So, Grand Ole Opry, what was that like, Kim?
Oh,
Did they
I
love you?
loved the Grand Ole Opry. I didn't get to perform there. Brad performs there. I just went and watched the Grand Ole Opry last week. Have you ever been?
No, I haven't, and I think I would have enjoyed it. There's been so much talent across those stage over this course of years.
It's so wonderful because they said it's a different show every night, and they just bring in groups that they are nurturing. They hear they're great, and 3, 4 songs. When we went, Vince Gill was the headliner. And by the way, Vince Gill's really, really busy in Nashville. I mean, he was doing the Ryman that week. He was doing the Grand Ole Opry. And then, of course, he tours with the Eagles. So we're excited. We're going to get to see Vince Gill. I love him. Amy Grant's husband. Amy Grant's one of my favorite of all times. So I'm thinking like if I one, I'm one away, right, from Amy Grant watching him. Well, one of the Oak Ridge Boys members died, and I'm sorry I don't know his name. I don't know if you know who the Oak Ridge boy that died.
No, I don't. His last name was Boys, though, I believe.
Okay, so he gets on stage and he starts talking about how sad he is that he died, and then he plays some of his a song of his, and he tells another story, and then he plays another song of his, and then he tells a story. And by the time it's over, I'm like, this is so sad. And then he went, good night.
Good luck.
Everything up to that point, I was like, yay, I'm at the Grand Ole Opry. And then Vince Gill comes out like,
He laid a bomb. Talking about losing people, the other day we lost one of the greatest comedians in history.
Bob Newhart.
Oh, my God.
Bob Newhart. He did one of the best stand-ups ever, I think.
Oh, I have his old albums. I have all those recordings, and he was he was funny throughout his career. He couldn't help himself.
No. And he had the 2 sitcoms that were amazing. I don't know. He was great.
Well, and
Yeah. We've lost a lot of people in the last 2 weeks, but we're not going to dwell on that because I don't want to be Vince Gill because it's all, it's like we're at close to an hour. It's like, wah, wah, wah.
we should do a seminar on surviving. We'll round them up. You entertain them. We'll talk about surviving, and we'll make them better people.
Eye of the tiger. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. People need to survive this. Talk to somebody. Go out. Talk to somebody.
No, absolutely. Make a difference. Everybody needs
Do
to.
something for somebody. Be kind to somebody, and don't tell anyone.
Well, and don't expect kudos. We didn't grow up getting gold
No,
stars.
that's the whole thing. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing. It's like be kind to someone, but don't tell anybody.
Well,
So that's my message. If anybody watches this, go do something nice for somebody, and don't tell anybody you did it.
well, that's a lot. That's a great thought. Let me pose as a question: if we're kind to somebody and we don't tell anybody in the woods, does anybody hear it?
The other day, I was like, I'm going to be really nice. This person cut me off at Starbucks, and they were like, cut me off, and they honked their horn and flipped me off. And it was a woman. And my grandsons were in the car.
Oh,
So I get up to the thing, and I said to her, to the barista, and I said, what did she order? Because if she only ordered coffee, I'll buy it. She goes, yeah, she just got a coffee. And I said, I'll buy it. And it was a special to drink coffee, so it wasn't cheap. It was, like a macchiato or something. And my grandsons go, why did you do that?
that's right.
And I said, I really, really, really wish I could see her face when they said the woman in front of you who you just flipped off and honked your horn.
She thinks you're special.
I just gave us some kindness because vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. But can I watch? And when you do something nice, you kind of get to watch. But so I tried it again. Someone was behind me, and they were being just a poopy doop. And I thought, well, I'll get their drink again. No one was in the car. My grandson's. I was alone. So I get up there and I said, what do they got? She goes, oh, you don't want to buy them anything. He's been so rude to me and so awful. And I said, well, what do you get? No, it's like a $50 order. I went, okay, forget it.
He's not worth it. He's not worth it.
Sorry, Charlie.
I'll leave you with this last thought. I am a very imposing human being, and I drove a Sunbird convertible because I loved the performance of the car, and I could actually modify it where I could fit in it. And people would get upset at me on the road because it's kind of the norm these days. People like to be upset. And what I could do is hit the electric window on the passenger side without leaning and put my hand outside and wave to them. And it would take them a little while, but then they got a feel for what that meant.
Do you have road rage?
No, I don't.
I don't
because
either.
There's no point.
I don't either because all road rage does is upset yourself and who's ever in the car with you. You're not teaching the perpetrator of the wrong who did you wrong. You're not teaching them anything. You're not doing anything. It's just leave it, right? And so my message that please, if you're dating someone with road rage, dump them because they're horrific people. Real quick, I'm on the plane. And coming back from Nashville to San Antonio. And my boyfriend sits at a window seat where, of course, we have to help people in case the plane's in trouble, right? You get more space, but you have to help. So due to the fact that the windows have been coming off the planes, in my comedic mind, I'm looking over at him and I make a face like this, like, a window. I went like that. And I was going to sit down saying, honey, you better hold, if it blows off, I'll hold on to you. I was going to, just play with the idea. No big deal. Well, the steward saw me make a face, and he comes over to me. He goes, "If you don't want to sit there," and he got in my finger, and it was like your third grade teacher.
Right, exactly, freaking nuts.
and just like you better, if you're going to sit there, I need your help, and if you don't want to, you need to sit somewhere else. And just went off. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I need to shut up. I need to acquiesce, do whatever I need to do to not get in trouble because they have a lot of power now.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, the FBI on you. So I sit down and I don't say a word. I said, yes, I'm fine. I will take care of it. I wasn't making fun of, I was just making I was playing with my boyfriend with my face. And so my boyfriend goes, what's wrong with you? Because, I look like I had just been scolded.
Right.
Lecture face.
Right.
Lecture face?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So then the steward comes up and he says, because he asked me again, what is wrong with you? And I went, nothing. We'll talk about it later. So the steward walks up and he goes, I got on to her. I probably overreacted and I'm sorry. I just went, okay, thank you. I just looked straight ahead. I don't want to be arrested. Oh, God.
Well, I'll leave you. I promise I'll leave you. But I'll be saddened to leave you. In a flight going to the National Shotgun Championships in San Antonio, I'm with a very good friend of mine. And being imposing, when I sit in an airline seat, it's not comfortable. I mean, it is not comfortable. And the person in front of me kept reclining their seat, and it was painful. And then I leaned up, and there's a rule of three with me. And I said, sir, could you please put your seat in the upright position? I'm in a lot of pain. And he didn't move it. I said, sir, can you hear me? Could you please put your seat in the upright position? And he put it in the upright position and he slammed it back.
Oh, he said yes, then no. I'm not going to listen to this guy.
And then he said something disparaging. And what I did not realize is airline seats can go forward. There's nothing keeping them from going forward. So when I tried to tap the seat with my fist, it had a dramatic conclusion to that poor man that it had a hearing problem. And I said something disparaging, and I looked at my friend and I said, "Do you think he heard me?" And my friend said, "I think the whole plane heard you."
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so things have changed. Things have changed.
Was this pre stewards and stewardesses having lots of control and
No, it was a better time. This would have been in the 80s. You
oh, okay,
actually
all right, okay. So yeah, you were safe.
it was before they handed you a little bag of peanuts and said, "Get over it."
Yeah, yeah.
And it was no, I was weaned on flying Hughes Air West, Phoenix to Los Angeles. It was a 50-minute flight. I had to get to the airport 15 minutes before it took off. I could
Oh
run
my gosh.
I could run through the airport, fly onto the plane, get my seat. The stewardess could serve you 2 drinks and a meal in
Oh, the
45
meals.
minutes. In 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Can't do that now.
No.
It's,
We had a bumpy ride because we got right behind Burl, and the plane was bumpy, and then at one point it dropped a little bit. Not anything horrific, but enough to where people in the plane went,
yeah.
there's a collective gasp. And because of everything that you've heard in the news lately about what's happening with planes, and I mean, you talk about praying. I should have gone on Facebook. Please, prayers, please.
No.
What for? Just pray for the love of God.
You should have stood up as Droopy Drog and said, "I'm starting a prayer circle."
Everybody start praying.
Yes, please. Please, Alva. Kim, it's been a marvelous time. Give us something to look forward to in your future schedule, and we'll let you out of here.
November 1st, I'll be doing the Legends of San Antonio comics at the Empire Theater here in San Antonio, Texas.
That's cool. We'll put a link to that
The
theater.
legend, right here.
Right there. You are a legend. You're too young to be a legend, but you might as well be one. All right, my
God
friend.
bless you. I will pray for you no matter what your request is not.
Well, thank you, Kim. Lord knows I need it. All right, everybody. This has been Justin Case and Kim Kerley, setting the record straight. Thanks for joining us. Remember, additional information and links provided in this video is read more. Today's the day to subscribe to this channel. Please support stand-up comedians, what's funny, and all your friends. And if we offended you, well, hey, take care, buddy.